Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, warning of the shadow government, said, quote, "The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. Our way of life is under attack. Those who make themselves our enemy are advancing around the globe. No war ever posed a greater threat to our security. If you are awaiting a finding of clear and present danger, then I can only say that the danger has never been more clear and its presence has never been more imminent. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised, and no expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. Close quote. Such are the statements of presidents from George Washington to John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Although these men pointed to a secretive, shadowy government, the one thing that they failed to do was to tell us who were the members of this covert group that had gained power. The Federal Reserve, the international bankers, the industrialists. Who were these people? So since they would not expose them, John the Revelator in the scriptures of the Bible does expose them. In the 2nd chapter of Revelations, the 9th verse, in the King James Version, it reads, quote, "I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan." Close quote. And I respectfully say that any person who calls himself or herself a Jew and agrees with those who claim to be Jews, who are going against the teachings that Almighty God sent down to them through the prophets, they are not Jews, and their claiming to be Jews is blasphemy. But you claim to have a covenant relationship with the God of righteousness. Well, what is a covenant? In the theological definition of the word, it is defined as, quote, "an agreement that brings about a relationship in commitment between God and his people." The Jewish faith is built on the biblical covenants made with Abraham, Moses, and David. Let's stop right there. Abraham? You that are befouling the atmosphere with filth and degeneracy, you can't connect yourself to Abraham, who is considered the father of monotheistic belief, who was obedient to God in all that God had commanded him to do. You cannot say that you have a covenant through Moses, who gave you a law that you are flaunting today with what you are doing through Hollywood, through music, through the media, through the press, through the newspapers, through your inordinate control of the means by which the people think and make their decisions. David, even though he may have made a mistake, he submitted and repented before God. This you false Jews have not done. No, you are not a Jew. I say you're a so-called Jew. You are Satan masquerading as a covenanted people of God. You must be exposed regardless to the consequences. This is why in the New Testament, in the book of John, the 8th chapter, when those satanic Jews under the name scribes and Pharisees claimed Abraham as their father, Jesus rebuked them. They said in verse 39, they answered and said unto Jesus, Abraham is our father. And Jesus said unto them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. And Jesus also tells them in verse 40, but now you seek to kill me, a man that hath told you the truth, which I have heard of God. This did not Abraham. Jesus tells them they do the deeds of their father. And then these satanic Jews claim God as their father in verse 41. And Jesus answered, you do the deeds of your father. Then said they to him, we be not born of fornication. We have one Father, even God. And Jesus responds in verses 42 to 44. He said unto them, if God were your father, you would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from God. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech, even because you cannot hear my word? You are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father you shall do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he's a liar and the father of it. As I have said in my Savior's Day message in February 2012, the synagogue of Satan is not just composed of so-called Jews, it's composed of people of like minds that are under their influence. They have broken their covenant with God and are no longer the people of God, except that they are the people of the God of this world, which is Satan himself. They certainly are not the people of the God of righteousness. So you weak people, you weak preachers, you weak government officials who refuse to say that it is the synagogue of Satan, so-called Jews, in their blasphemy. to say that they have a covenant relationship with God, when it is the very thing that they are promoting that's bringing the moral standard of America down into the mud. And this is why the scriptures say that we have to put on the whole armor of God, as I said in episode 56 of The Time and What Must Be Done. Why would we need the whole armor of God? It's because we can't stand unless we know that the man of sin has been revealed, the son of perdition, who's leading America to ruin. And you all are witnessing the ruin of this nation, and you are too weak to speak the truth that reveals this man of sin, this son of perdition. But I represent the two who have come to end the civilization of these so-called Jews of the synagogue of Satan. But I want the world to know the righteous Jews who follow the law that has been sent down to them through the prophets that were sent to the Israelites will have their place in a righteous kingdom, but not these unfaithful masqueraders of the synagogue of Satan.